What's up, guys? This is the first episode of Real Sports show, just talking about the real stories in sports, stuff that ESPN really doesn't, acknowledge as much as they should. ESPN and all these other high media sports companies decide to cover stories that just make them money and make everybody laugh, where the real sports fans are waiting for an actual story that they can listen to and learn some info on as they head into watching one of their favorite teams play. So that's what this show's gonna be about. I want to talk about the real stuff that's important in sports today. And today, I think it's definitely important to talk about what happened over this weekend in the NFL divisional round, the NFL playoffs. We're in the heart of the NFL playoffs, and as we head into championship weekend, I think it's important to discuss what happened the week before to see how these teams stack up. We're going to start off with the Seattle-Carolina game. This was a 31-24 victory for Carolina, but it was a gruesome first half for Seattle. Carolina dominated this game in the first half, won it to the half, 31-0. Seattle did come back, really gave a nice fight, but it wasn't enough. A little scary, though, as a Carolina fan to see that second half because, not to be shut out in the second half and for your defense to give up 24 points against a Seattle team that's really been struggling and really doesn't have that home field advantage is something to think about. Cam Newton had 161 yards and a touchdown. Not a big day for him, but he got the job done. The key in this game, though, was Jonathan Stewart, definitely the player of the game for Carolina. 106 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns against the second-ranked Seattle defense. This is the first time since November 2014, Seattle has allowed a 100-yard rusher, and that man was Jamal Charles, who I think is the best running back in the NFL. Now, the nice win for Carolina. They're going to head in next week at home. They're going to play the NFC Championship against the Arizona Cardinals. Speaking of Arizona Cardinals, we're going to head into their game right now. They had a 26-20 victory over the Green Bay Packers, and this is definitely the most exciting game of the weekend. We're going to fast forward to the final seconds here of the fourth quarter where Aaron Rodgers does it again. This guy is just a god. Throws a touchdown to Jeff Janis as time expires to send it to overtime. Jeff Janis really came out of nowhere also. Never even heard of this guy. Comes out of nowhere with 7 catches, 145 yards, and 2 TDs. But as we head into overtime, there's only one name you need to know, and that's Larry Fitzgerald. First pass of overtime takes it 75 yards to the Cardinals' own 5. And then 2 plays later, catches a little pitch from Carson Palmer to run in for the game-winning TD. Larry had a day with 8 catches, 167 yards, and a game-winning TD. And Carson Palmer had 349 yards with 3 TDs and 2 interceptions. And to me, I think without the turnovers, the Cardinals are scary going to Carolina next weekend, for the NFC Championship. Next, we'll talk about Broncos-Steelers. The theme of this game was the one last hurrah for Peyton Manning. Probably the last time you'll see this guy in the playoffs or on the field if you are watching these games. I had a decent game, 222 yards. No TDs, no interceptions, which is huge. This is his first start since Week 10 against the Chiefs when he threw for 32 yards and had 4 picks. So this was a good comeback day for him. C.J. Anderson also had a great game, 72 yards and a touchdown. Denver looked pretty good. Obviously, Antonio Brown being out definitely hurt the Steelers as well as D'Angelo Williams. But Denver's going to head on next week to face New England in the AFC Championship at home in Denver, which I think is huge. And speaking of New England, this is our final game of the weekend. New England, a little shaky, a 27-20 win against the Chiefs. I think everybody knew going into this game New England was going to win it. But I didn't think it was going to be this close. I didn't think the Chiefs would give them this late of a fight. Mainly because the offense was slow to start. Returning, your 3 main weapons. Edelman returned, Gronk returned, and Amendola all returned from injury. Definitely an adjustment. A lot of drops early, a lot of miscues. Stupid plays you don't see from the Patriots. And, they got it fixed, though. And, Tom Brady was still Tom Brady once again. 302 yards and 2 TDs. Despite the struggles, this is a very good Kansas City team. Very underlooked. They've won 11 games in a row before this game. They just dominated the NFL over the last 11 weeks, and it was a good win for Patriots to come through with it. But they got to play better to beat very deadly Bronco D and Peyton Manning, who looks like he's in his top form. This is the first episode. Tune in next week as we switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk about the Major League Baseball offseason, all these new moves, trades, and what impact they have on their teams. And I'm going to pick who I think is going to make the playoffs in each division. So tune in next week to Real Sports. Good night.